All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Horimiya, episode 4. Last
All right.
episode was absolutely wonderful. We got backstory that was very emotional.
Yep.
We got love confession
That was kind of...
that was reciprocated, but then also backpedaled on because of...
It's a bit wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, it's the whole like, oh yeah, my childhood trauma is causing, negative effects in this relationship, but I don't...
Slight bit of miscommunication.
Exactly. Even though the other party
up.
thinks there's been great communication, like that the way that was handled, I loved it.
Yeah,
but then there's also stuff with Toru and conflict there because,
My boy.
yeah, it might seem like so long ago, but it was just like what, last episode, 2 episodes ago,
Yeah.
where he confessed to her and got rejected.
Yeah. And the pacing of this show gives a lot of like wiggle room for time to have been skipped in the middle of episodes and stuff like that. But still, I think that even after this love confession, it hasn't been that much time since they've known each other.
Nope.
There's a lot of things that I'm sure that they would love to address and maybe kind of have a little bit more communication on, like
because those fingers interlocked.
Yes,
and
yes,
that's
exactly.
that
means another one is coming. It's just a question of when. Yeah.
Yep. And will they be ready for it?
And will the exactly, will they be ready for it? So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right.
Okay.
This episode had kind of a two-pronged approach here. We got the stuff with the school, kind of comedy life stuff of understanding that, Sakura kind of likes Toru, and yet, because of, crushes going specific ways and stuff like that, things aren't necessarily going to resolve in any dramatic way. But the arrival of the meat of the episode with Shindo kickstarted a series of events that led to
another confession.
Cool.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Shindo, I love him.
Yes.
I love him.
Yeah, he's
so much.
absolutely wonderful. If anything, it's almost jarring that he is so emotionally savvy and stuff, and was also even as a middle schooler. That's whoa.
See, this is the thing. I'm kind of tired of melodrama nonsense. Because of their age or what have you.
Right.
It's refreshing to every once in a while, by the law of large numbers, basically have eventually someone who's just mature for their age.
Right. And we're just lucky in this show that it's a lot of the characters.
Well, yeah. I don't think it's even something where actually that many of them are super mature. I think Toru is kind of mature.
Okay, yeah.
I think Hori isn't necessarily mature in that many areas.
Right, there are areas where they have strengths, but then other areas where they're weak.
Yeah. I think that the idea that people are mature in specific areas but not in others, that's just how it is.
Right.
There's no flat line that everyone is just like, you're an immature character. You're a mature person.
Right.
So, yeah, you're all rounded in that thing. That kind of makes even less sense. So, this area where Mia is not the kind of person who would get embarrassed about anything.
Nope.
Really. He's kind of been through that already.
Right. He's had plenty of experiences where basically he was getting negative feedback from his environment. Yep. So he's not really going to be too shocked if there is negative feedback, but he's also not going to pay much attention to it.
Yeah, he doesn't owe anything to that stimuli. So he, if anything, finds a lot of internal, I would say,
solace
maybe to basically remain strong and upright.
Exactly. Eye of the storm, sort of unaffected by the things going on around him.
Yeah. And I know that on some level there's a lot of people that would see that as a very detached kind of way of living.
Totally.
But I think in a lot of ways that's realistic to the way a decent portion of the population lives, is that the external stimuli you get is so chaotic and, hard to predict and, just chaotic. So if you're going to have any semblance of sanity, just maintain some kind of an internal, kind of world that is
that is peaceful and peaceful, can be your anchor. And in the case of Mia specifically, because he's been the target of so much ire from the outside world. Basically, he's been forced to develop that a lot faster than other people, and there are elements of where that's a weakness, right? Because then he can be detached kind of from his environment and not be like looking into things too much, or like miscues and whatnot. But at the same time, that can also be a great strength, right? He's comfortable enough to confess to Hori.
Yeah.
And he's matter of fact about it.
Yeah, the matter of factness of his character is one of my favorite things about him, is that she was saying, where are you going? Where are you going? And it's like, what you're meaning to say is,
please don't go.
Please don't go, right? And she didn't change that because, well, one, she's in a really out of it state. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Physically, in addition to emotionally, yeah.
Well, yeah, but still, just the fact of being sick, I don't know if this would have happened if she wasn't sick.
Yep.
Because what I think happened here is that the side of her that she tries to hide came out.
Right. She was too exhausted to...
to basically keep it under wraps.
Yep.
And that's an interesting kind of parallel to Mia, in that he has this other side of himself with regards to his tattoos and piercings that he very much does spend a lot of energy to keep hidden from people. It's the idea of wearing a blazer on a summer day,
Right.
Oh, the hot doesn't bother me. It's like, no, it probably bothers you less because you're used to this, but you still would probably prefer to bear all and be free.
Right. And also that was very sweet that then Hori was like, oh yeah, here's a popsicle, by the way, because I kind of figured that this would be something that would potentially be an issue for you, because I know that, you keep wearing that blazer because tattoos and all that, and so that's just this is really sweet.
These little gestures that are why they just...
it's those no big deal things that matter the most. And the fact that the trope of the love interest gets sick and then the other love interest has to like care for them and stuff. I love how they ended up using it here, because most of the time when I would see that trope being used in like stories and things like that, and by the way, this is totally fine if this is all it is, right? But it's the element of basically you can get some really sweet time with the person, right? And it shows how much the person cares for them, right? But in this situation, it wasn't just that, because we already know that these two care about each other a ton, right?
Swallow first before you speak.
Yep. I'm excited. But in this situation, we can also get something where there's kind of an induced vulnerability, right? That is totally something that would happen over the course of time if they spend enough time with each other. Eventually, there will be that point where basically the walls and the facades and everything and the defensive layers that the person would keep up on a day-to-day basis, they need a point.
They would relax them.
They would relax them at some point, right? And because they're sick is a great explanation as to why. And then
it's used a lot.
Yep. And then as a result of that, Mia is then able to see that side of her, right? And, well, I love you.
Yeah. And what I really love about this was a way to show not her feelings for Mia, but actually her fear with regards to being left behind, or abandoned, or at the very least being alone. And she has Sota, which, if you think about it, Sota then provides this perfect opportunity for her to be, well, a receiver for lots of positive feedback, because she's doing the thing that maybe she wished her mother had been for her all along. But when she's in a panicked state, because I'm like, oh, I can feel my head spinning. Suddenly, he's here in my bedroom. We're alone. Oh my God, what is happening? Oh wait, he's headed out. Why? He can't be leaving. No, he shouldn't leave. He should stay here and take care of me. Oh wait, hold on. This reminds me of something. Oh wait, I didn't want her to leave either. Oh, I couldn't tell her that I was sick back then.
Right.
Because I didn't want her to, miss work and stuff. I didn't want to be a burden, so I suffered alone.
And I love how we still get to see elements of that still exist even now within Hori, because
that was the whole scene.
Well, no, but not just the frustration over and the feelings of not wanting to be left alone, but even the inability to fully say how sick she was, because when he asked her what her temperature was, she said, 38, no, 37. it was 38.7.
Yeah.
So she downplays it,
She
and
lied,
then and at first it's like, oh, round down, it's like, oh, whatever. But then saying 37, it's like, no, that's
actively a
lie. That's just flat out wrong. Like there's and then he takes the temp later, and it's like, oh yeah, 38. It's like, yeah. But like little things where she's not letting herself be fully vulnerable, and then when he starts to then leave, right? She tries to go after him, and she can't even walk properly, right? Because fevers will take you out. Like they will.
Especially a really high one.
Yeah.
I've had a fever of, what was the highest one? I think it almost hit 104 Fahrenheit, of course.
Yeah.
But
Celsius.
Right. But it stayed like that for a good day, and that was really bad because I just got cooked, and I just remember like my bed sheets were soaked from sweat. I was like, I slept for like 35 hours over the course of like 2 days. It was crazy.
You were probably delirious for a good amount of that.
Well, that's the thing, is that the points where I needed to get water, because I was draining myself of all my fluids through just sweating, I couldn't even make it to the bathroom because I felt like the world was spinning. Like, and the hallucinations got so intense to the point where it felt like I was on a circus ride that I couldn't get off. And I remember panicking to the point where I held onto the hallway, like threshold of the bathroom door, thinking that I was gonna fall if I let go. And I was freaking out. And I remember, I think I was maybe 12 or something like that. And my dad like comes over and he's like, "It's okay," and he pulls my fingers that were like white,
death grip
onto it. He like holds on to me. He's like, "It's okay." And I'm like freaking out. And he comes over, gets me the water, and then it was like once I could like tell the water was touching my lips, it like grounded me back to reality, and then I like felt everything like recentering, and then it was more of like this rather than like this,
Okay, things are down to just an earthquake.
right,
cool.
Exactly, just a 6.0, nothing crazy.
Yep.
But oh my god, yeah, fevers are nutty. But the idea that she was going to go to school if not for Sota,
right?
Oh, that tells a lot about her character too.
Yep. And I love that Sota is just like, because of course he's a little kid, so everything is like way more extreme, right? So he's just like, don't die.
You must stay here. I'm going to go get Big Brother,
right?
Big Brother Miyamura. Okay, you no. And he pushes her in there.
Right, takes the bag.
Like, yeah, exactly. I loved that little bit because Sota's wholesome, innocent boy, sees things in extremes. But I also think in a lot of ways he's just old enough to be able to understand that she doesn't take care of herself.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people do when they've been in a state of where they're not used to letting other people take care of them.
Right, because maybe the people that should have taken care of them or normally would have failed them in some way, right? Weren't there when they needed them.
Created mistrust.
And one of the things that I really loved about how the episode went is that we don't know how long Miyamura spent with Hori when she was sick in bed. And when he left, it almost seems like it's the, like, I have, like,
it's the next day.
It's the next day. Yeah, exactly.
It's just another day.
Right. And I need to go to school or something, right? And it's the, okay, but then he knows that, okay, she doesn't want him to leave. And we also saw the glass, so we know that there was a point where eventually she was able to at least trust him enough to get the water for her,
right?
Yeah. And then when it's the additional trust thing of, okay, now I actually have to go because I can't just stay here for like multiple days. I love you.
Yeah.
In case there was any doubt, I love you.
For quite a while.
Like that's. I love it. Like any time that, like, I don't know, it's like when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, why do I love romance stories in general, and especially like the high school romance stories? Because like there's the whole idea of like, oh, the first love, or like just when you're younger and everything is a lot more extreme because it's new experiences, right? And this is that, I feel like, is the ultimate like triumph, basically, of being able to say relatively calmly, I love you, and to acknowledge that it has been going on for a while, right? Like to have basically reconciled that within yourself and be secure enough to actually tell the other person. It's like, hell yeah. Yeah, you go.
You go, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Maybe, if anything, just there's some fun, like, potential double date kind of stuff that Shindo is trying to set up, and
that was great.
Hey, you remember your protection, and but just the idea that, okay, if these two can accept that they like each other, maybe we could get into some not double dates where it's some aspect of where it's like, oh, like, we're gonna do a thing together with our friends, but we're not fully having communicated back to the other person, but we know that each other, well, no, dang it, actually that's the issue here. Miyamura is the one that doesn't know.
Yes,
because he sees it still from the perspective of the other thing, whereas his confession to her was genuine in the way that she understood it. So she knows that he said that.
Right.
Now, she of course might doubt herself a little bit because of her feverishness, but
she doubts herself a little bit because of the feverishness. But one of the things that I feel like relaxed in this situation because I feel like, given the fact that Mia was able to say that he loved her so calm and collectedly, you know, and given what happened in the previous episode, because there was a lot of stuff about, oh wait, how does Mia feel about all this, because he's starting to doubt everything because of his past childhood experiences.
Sure.
The fact that he then is able to get to this point of progress, basically, I'm not worried if Hori is questioning things, because I feel like he could just as easily tell her again in the next episode.
Oh, I don't think she's going to question things.
Oh, okay.
I was meaning that she's the one that knows. Like, she could question things because of the fever, but it's more likely just that...
What is she going to do about it?
Yeah, it's more likely just that she's going to know, but Mia's not.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah. Well, and I think if he doesn't know necessarily if she knows, I think there's a good possibility that he's like, no, she's totally awake right now. Oh, okay. But even if not, I feel like because it was such a casual thing for him to tell her, then he would probably be able to just make sure, some point soon and be like, just in case you were asleep, I love you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, but y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.